This tape has been created for the decoy in training. This is not a dog training tape. Before anyone attempts the more difficult moves depicted here, make sure you understand all the basics of absorption and technique. Experienced dogs are depicted throughout this video. Some moves could be detrimental or even damaging to a young or untrained dog. We are not responsible for injuries to dogs or persons resulting from viewing or implementing any information on this tape. Jean-Michel Moreau has been training dogs for 21 years. Starting as a hobbyist in French ring, Mr. Moreau was also responsible for the training of police and security dogs and handlers in Paris. He was certified as a French ring decoy, or homme d'attaque, in 1976. He obtained the first place ranking of 80 decoys selected that year, receiving national status. He went on to decoy or agitate several selective trials and the national championship in Campan in 1979. He was ranked national again in 1987 at the age of 41. In 1989, he was the sole decoy for the North American Ring Championships held in Wells, Maine. Jean-Michel was instrumental in the introduction of French ring to the United States and Canada in 1986 and continues to serve the national organization as training director and regional liaison to the SCC. He obtained his judging license in French ring in 1992. Jean-Michel has had an impact in the training of almost every successful trial and training decoy in the United States. Many of his students, both U.S. and French, appear in this tape. Decoying, agitating, all of it requires a person with strength, balance, and timing. It's a beautiful, thrilling spectacle of man against beast. Truly a dance as old as time, but as new as the next innovation in training. We call this dancing with dogs. Working in a suit is a relatively new concept in North America. Many of us are familiar with sleeve bite work. We feel the suit offers many advantages over the simple sleeve training of the past. First of all, it is more realistic, allowing the decoy to move and behave in the most natural way possible. The decoy is also safer in a suit, which can protect him from accidental or misplaced bites. Finally, the suit allows for the ingenuity of the dog, for if he is unable to grasp the decoy in his preferred target, the suit enables him to adjust to the decoy's moves or threats and bite in another area. The techniques shown in this tape have, at their roots, the sport of French ring. However, all the philosophy and moves can be used in the training of police, security, and personal protection dogs. The street dog is better served by training him to deal with a real situation. These techniques allow you to show your canine partner what a bad guy could be like. In this tape, we will give you a broad overview of the foundation work that precedes any bites in the suit. We will try to help you understand your balance and movement. You will be shown how to incite a dog to target specific areas for a bite and how to safely absorb the impact. You will be introduced to esquives, the most exciting and demanding move in a suit. And finally, after being shown how to help the dog in his bite, we will show you how to test the dog's temperament by opposing him, using your body and personal style to impress, intimidate, or stop the dog's aggressive actions. Of course, before you start, you must obtain your equipment. There are several types of suits available to you. We recommend choosing one that fits your needs and your abilities. This suit is commonly called the Moreau bodysuit, designed with the police canine agitator in mind. This is not a ring suit. As you can see, the suit is fully protecting the decoy. This type of suit would be best for those of you who must deal with heavy-hitting upper body biters. This suit protects the bad guy in all areas, but is especially padded in the shoulder and arm areas. The suit is flexible enough to allow for natural movement, while affording maximum protection from bruising or cuts. This suit is recommended for the beginner who may not be skilled in absorbing or slipping the bites. It is also recommended for personal protection or security applications. The unique design of the Moreau bodysuit makes it easy for the decoy to slip the pants on and off. The pants are permanently padded in all areas, so the decoy can take a deep leg bite from any dog without worrying if the inserts are in place. Jean-Michel has designed the jacket to be made in 3 parts, the vest and both of the arms, which can be replaced or repaired without losing the whole ensemble. The suit is a bite surface in all aspects, with no buckles or snaps exposed to ensure the safety of the dog. It can be made in any color combination, and the entire suit weighs an average of 30 pounds. The ring suit is an entirely different product than the police suit. With its emphasis on flexibility and ease of movement, this suit is geared towards a serious ring sport enthusiast. The suit affords the decoy many options of protection by the use of inserts, which can be removed or added without changing the outward appearance. Custom colors and styling allow a decoy to express his personality. As you can see, the mobility possible in this suit is far superior to that of the police model. Along with this quickness and lightness, of course, comes the possibility of bruising if you are inexperienced. Both of these suits are created and distributed by Jean-Michel Moreau. To be able to work in a suit, you need to have dogs who can bite in the suit. If the dogs you are working are not at this point, you must teach them. This can be a mutual learning procedure for both you and the dog. By the time your doggy student is ready for the suit, you will have mastered some of the essential moves by using the tug, jambier, and sleeve. To help you reach this goal, we have developed a new training device. This exciting product will enable you to practice and polish your moves without jeopardizing your dog's progression. This product will be introduced to you at a later point in this tape. In starting the dog on the tug, there are several major points to keep in mind. The presentation of the tug to the dog should always guarantee the dog will have his eyes on the outside. You must present the tug several times until the dog shows his willingness to turn his head. Don't over-agitate. Keep the dog focused on the tug by moving it more than your body. If the dog is looking at your arms, legs, or face, he will not perform strongly on the tug. By stopping momentarily, you enable the dog to rebuild, taking advantage of the pause to get a stronger, deeper bite. Reward the dog for rebuilding by giving a strong fight after, or by giving up the tug. As you can see here, if the dog's bite is shallow or hesitant, stop the agitation and start a new one. When you first start a dog on the tug in this position, strive to place the dog on or slightly below the knee. As Jean-Michel points out, if you start at thigh level, the dog may end as he matures by preferring to bite in the belly of the decoy. To begin vertical bites, slip one loop handle of the tug over your foot to give a strong, stable feel for the dog. This also enables you to feel what it is like to have a dog on your leg in the right position. This work also starts your technique in placing the dog for the bite. Notice that Jean-Michel is not striking the dog with the stick at this point. Even though you are not hitting the dog, keep your stick in your hand as much as possible. It conditions the dog, but more importantly, it will start to feel very natural for you to have it. It is very important to work the dog on both legs in every session, so as to avoid the dog preferring a certain leg. It is important that every decoy is comfortable with dogs on either leg. If you prefer one, your technique on the other will be lacking. This is also an important time to build the dog's confidence and strength. As you lift the dog, causing him to make body contact, you are at the same time developing his jaw muscles and your upper body strength. The jambier is the next step after the tug. The presentation of the jambier is about the same as the tug. The dog must have his eyes to the outside. The first time the dog is introduced to the jambier, have him bite on it in your hands, then put it on your leg. Work the dog as you would in tug work. Then take the jambier off your leg and reward the dog with it after you give a fight with it in your hands. As the dog feels more confident, make him pull the jambier free of your leg. Make sure you put the jambier on the correct leg so that his eyes always remain on the outside. This would be the wrong way. This is the correct way. It's a good idea to focus the dog on the jambier the whole time you are in front of him. By running frantically or having excess movements, you may attract the dog's attention to unprotected and unproductive areas of your body. The pause to rebuild is an important aspect of this training as well. Notice that Jean-Michel's upper body is well away from the arc the leash would allow the dog to move in. This type of posture is important to be aware of because you will use it whenever a dog is hesitant, new to legs, or tends to focus on the upper body. Some dogs will be difficult to place on the jambier. Don't rush into a bite. Take your time to make sure the dog is focused, even waiting until the dog is a little calmer to make sure it will bite where you want. Of course, you must develop both yours and the dog's technique on both legs. Petting or stroking the dog, even dropping to the ground during the fight, will develop confidence in both you and the dog. Developing a sense of rhythm at this point in your work will serve you greatly when you get into the suit. Major change. This dog goes to the decoy for his bite. When the dog is biting confidently in the jambier, you can move to this very dramatic next phase. Up until now, the decoy has always come to the dog for the agitation. Now the dog is coming towards the decoy for the bite. This is an important step in the dog's and decoy's learning process. There are two types of jambiers, the full leg and one where a bite bar is attached to the front by Velcro. The full leg is best for older dogs and advanced pups, the other shown here for younger or weaker dogs. In some cases, inserting the tug inside the full leg jambier will force a dog to take a fuller bite. It can also cushion the deep bites from older dogs. Without the addition of the tug, this bite could have been very painful. If you are working a sleeve dog for the first time in the suit, it is better to introduce him to the multitude of possibilities with 2 sleeves. Make sure he will also bite in the inside of the arm. If you have a police canine or personal protection dog, this may be an uncomfortable place for him. Be careful to focus him on the sleeves before going in for the bite. There are actually 4 clear areas of bites in the arms: outside and inside upper, outside and inside lower. All of these areas should be shown to the dog, and you should feel comfortable with the dog in all these places. The inside arm may be a psychologically difficult place for you as a decoy. If possible, practice with dogs you are sure of in the beginning. The great thing about training in a suit for these types of bites is that you no longer have to present the outside forearm for the dog. It is a much different job to hold your balance when a dog is biting you in the upper inside arm as opposed to the outside forearm. Clearly, this is going to be a more realistic type of work for the dog and will help you to learn your balance and movements no matter where the dog bites. To start your actual suit work, there are several things you should remember. Do not bend forward too much. It's too easy to lose your balance. Same thing if you bend backwards too far. Either stance is too clumsy. You must be ready to take a bite anywhere on the suit at any time. Your weight should be on the balls of your feet. Do not place your hands on the suit, either resting or touching the leg area. They may become a target for the dog. Do stay springy, slightly crouched, standing in a relaxed kind of way, ready to make any move necessary. You must lead this dance. The dog doesn't decide where or how the 2 of you are moving. When working in the suit, you must use all of your body. At first, it may seem that you will concentrate on moving parts, like one leg. But in actual work, you will be using your arms to balance, to create a momentum when you are moving, and to act as a counterweight to the dog's. You will have to move while the dog is biting, at first to ensure that you will stand up, then later to challenge and test the dog. You will have to be aware of how your posture affects your balance, and also how it affects the dog's ability to deal with you as an adversary. You will have to learn how to direct the action, using the dog's strength against him or for him as the training warrants. You will learn how simple acts like walking or even standing still can be made into a difficult challenge for the dog. As you watch this tape, try to pick out as many different moves within the same action. Concentrate on what the decoy is doing, then go back and see how it affects the dog. Some things, at first glance, seem to be meaningless until you watch the physical and sometimes psychological stress it creates for the dog. By isolating these moves, you will be able to see when Jean-Michel finishes one, regains his center of gravity, and begins another. In some attacks, there can be up to 6 separate physical moves, each one designed to bring its own problems or rewards for the dog. Using the stick will help you to make the move smoother. Use of the stick in some movement frees your upper body, helping with balance and creating a rhythm to your work. Here, the decoy is pulling the dog, making him go where he wants. Notice the forward body posture Omar adopts, attempting to intimidate this dog into readjusting or letting go. In this attack, Jean-Michel starts by walking, almost pushing the dog out of the way. This is a very overpowering move for some dogs. Now, he is spinning, using centrifugal force and the dog's weight to test the dog's resolve. Arm biters, when worked properly, can be shown as many moves as the leg biters. The dog can be dragged, and his weight can still be used against him. Remember that you as a decoy must maintain your balance at all times, even at the outs. Prepare yourself so that you are standing in such a way that you are not off balance when the dog lets go. Think about what is coming next and always prepare for it. In the stick attacks, the arm biter can have his body brought closer to the stick, even closer to the decoy's imposing stare if he wants. Posture can be even more impressive for a dog if he is on the arm. In a fight with this decoy, the dog is being led. At no time does the dog move the decoy. Instead, the decoy is determining the pace, direction, and speed. Since this is a brevet, or beginning level, this dog is initially fed the arm. The test of his determination comes later, as Jean-Michel shows many different styles of work even at this low level. Notice the safe handling of the revolver. He is always aware of its position and never points it in the dog's direction. After mastering your balance and movement, it is possible to go on to some fancier footwork. This will expand your physical abilities to test and to teach the dogs. Looking back at some of the information already given to you in the tug, jambier, and sleeve portion of the tape, you may be starting to realize that you are placing the dog on the suit where you want. Targeting is the act of convincing the dog to bite in a certain place. The reason a decoy must master the art of targeting is twofold. First, to help train the dog, you must discipline yourself to put him in the most efficient place for him. Later on, as a testing tool, your skill at targeting will serve you by allowing you to place the dog where you want, then to take that bite away by making it unavailable or by covering it with a strong stick work. Plus, the art of targeting will allow you to put him in a bite that is uncomfortable or stressful. This is done first on leash on all the proper bite areas. This is much easier in the beginning when you go to the dog rather than the dog running at you. Start by moving the targeted area to attract the dog's attention, making sure that no other area of the suit or of you is available for the dog to bite. Once you have mastered the targeting of an on-leash dog, it will be a simple matter to make the targeted area you prefer the most inviting for the off-leash dog. In these frames, watch how Nathan targets the dog first to one leg, then to another. It may seem very subtle, but you can see that the dog goes where Nathan puts him. The targeting behavior of a decoy is sometimes difficult to see when it's done for leg bites. Here, Nathan is clearly targeting the dog on the arms. Remember your earlier training to focus the dog on all the bites possible in the suit. Do not let him get fixated on only one target. The different types of bites would be the outside and inside upper arm and outside and inside lower arm. As you can see, dogs can come at you with an intensity that is breathtaking. We call this point of impact the entry. For your safety, as well as for the dogs, it is important to absorb the force of this entry. Now, it is imperative that you have learned the proper stance. You must be supple and springy, standing with knees bent and well forward on the balls of your feet. This will enable you to go with ease into any move that can facilitate the entry. As the dog enters, you must shift your weight to the opposite side of where the dog will bite. In leg biters, this would mean taking all of your weight off the leg he is about to bite. Notice that Nathan is concentrating only on the targeting and absorption of the bite. You must learn to do this safely and be good enough to do it almost automatically before adding any other type of work. When learning these important moves, concentrate on just this aspect. Work calmly and seriously towards understanding this entire concept. Absorbing upper body biters, you must move slightly off-center, so the dog's weight and momentum carries him through your body. Especially when a dog is very fast, you must start the flow of energy by pushing off from the side he is entering. This movement causes you to shift your weight away from the point of impact. Just as in almost any other sport, the follow-through is very important. Immediately after the dog is bitten, you must allow the force of the impact to carry through. Don't try to stop the momentum. Doing that can be very dangerous to the dog. If you collide with the dog at this point in your training, it will serve to slow the dog's entry. As you can see, all the work you have done to master your balance and footwork starts to come in very handy. If a dog comes at you and is very centered, sometimes it will be impossible for you to let the force go to the outside of your body. Here, Nathan deals with this in a very safe and correct manner. By backing up, he avoids a full body collision between him and the dog. Because all of this is such an important concept, and if done incorrectly could lead to injury of either dog or decoy, you should start your work in short distances, not allowing the dog to build up speed until you are sure you can absorb him safely. When attempting fleeing or runaway attacks, remember it is hard to target a dog when you are running away from him. He will bite where he wants or where he has been taught. So your job in these attacks will be to absorb the entry of the dog and to not fall down. In both cases, you must try to be going as fast as you need, so as not to be hit with a large amount of force. Don't overextend yourself. Run only as fast as you are able, while still working within your capabilities of balance. Don't stop at the moment of entry. Allow the dog to push you into your next steps, while still running straight ahead. Even though it sounds difficult, don't look at the dog as he approaches. By trying to look at him, you will be totally off balance. Nathan falls every time he tries to look back at the dog. Of course, as you learn, you will be falling more often than not. When that happens, be mindful of the dog. Try not to land on him, but don't fight the fall yourself. Just go with it. If you try to stop your descent, you may injure yourself. After you have the feeling for the targeting and absorption, you need only to speed up the motion so as to make the dog miss his target. This action is called an esquive. Esquives, probably the most memorable scene from a ring or training session. Most decoys strive for perfecting these moves all of their career. When done properly, it becomes the essence of timing, knowledge of dogs, and a decoy's personal physical ability. There are, however, more than those reasons for learning and applying esquives. First, making a very fast dog miss his initial entry will be safer for him. Second, and more importantly, the true test of a dog can be made after he has been esquived. His initial power and speed has been taken away, and he must face his opponent at close range. Psychologically, this can be very challenging, especially to dogs who are very seldom exposed to a decoy who gets out of his way. It is important to note, however, that to show a dog esquives too often or too soon in his career will cause him to slow down in his entry. Be wise, show your dog student many targeting and absorption situations, and use esquives sparingly. When learning to esquive, there are 4 major types you will perfect for leg biters. the last split-second esquive, the rounded esquive, the long lateral esquive, the short lateral esquive. Just as in targeting and absorbing, the decoy who wishes to set up a last split-second esquive needs to have the proper stance, one that allows him to move very fast in any direction. When performing this type of esquive, the decoy must read the dog to see what his target is. At the last split second before the dog's entry, Stacy moves his body quickly out of the dog's way. He uses his center body muscles, not relying on just his legs to make the dog miss. He starts to move powerfully, using all the muscles in his arms, chest, torso, and legs at once. Now Stacy puts himself in a good balanced position to oppose the dog, putting strong stick work between the dog and him. The action you see with the stick is called a barrage. The timing is everything in this esquive. If done too soon, the dog will adjust to the move and catch you. Done too late, this could happen. The rounded esquive requires a stance like this. Standing in this fashion will make the dog focus on your stick, not on your body. The addition of body language will direct the dog in a path you choose. This puts him off-center for his entry. Stacy sets up the dog to come off-center, then he backs up in a button hook move. He constantly increases the distance between him and the dog. Since Stacy has put the dog off-center with his stick, he now has it in the correct position to be used to further oppose the dog. When this esquive is started too late, the dog will catch the moving leg. If done too early, the dog will catch the pivot leg as shown here. The long lateral esquive is the easiest one to perform once you understand the timing involved. When starting this esquive, the decoy uses the dog's speed to tell him when to start his lateral attempt. Once the decoy starts the sideways move, it will make the dog speed up, so he will have difficulty maintaining his footing to readjust to the decoy's move. This will also slow the dog down immensely by the time he reaches the man. Because it slows the dog as he approaches, it gives the decoy plenty of time to readjust his posture and footing and place a strong barrage in front of the dog. On this long lateral, Stacy starts a bit late. He still manages to esquive the dog, but you can see he doesn't have much time to readjust his posture and balance. The short lateral esquive can be dangerous because one of your legs could be caught by the dog while you are not balanced. You have to do a scissors move to avoid this. The short lateral is really a timed esquive. The move starts when the dog is much closer to the decoy than in the long lateral. The initial step Stacy takes is across his body. This sideways movement causes the dog to focus on that crossover leg and to also speed up, compromising his footing. The decoy scissors his back leg up and over the dog's head because that has now become the dog's target. The decoy will then use his upper body's momentum to swing back into position. Remember that the scissors is essential to completing this move without falling. When attempting an upper body esquive, remember a dog who leaves the ground to fly at you cannot change direction in midair. The decoy must make his move as the dog leaves the ground, taking care to avoid any chance the dog could throw his head to the side and catch the suit. Don't move your target arm into your body, throw it back away from the dog, leaving just air where your chest and arm used to be. Just like this. Another reason for throwing your arm back away from the dog, rather than across your body, is the final move of readjustment brings the decoy back into a good position. If Ted had been lucky enough to make an esquive by turning into his body, his back would have been to the dog, making it impossible for him to get in good position. With a good sense of rhythm and concentration, it's sometimes possible to exkeeve a dog twice. Nice move. Gets into good position for a second exkeeve. Then a good position for barrage. Three exkeeves in a row on the legs is something that a decoy will remember all his life. Tim did this at his exam when he attempted national certification. Timing, speed, strength, and knowledge can come together into a beautifully choreographed test of a dog's resolve and courage. Catching a glimpse of a dance as well done as this can excite anyone who observes it. Gilles Piot personifies coiled springs for legs, exquisite timing, and athleticism. Who can blame a dog for not catching a decoy like Gilles? He can blend exkeeves with quickness, and for good measure, throw in tremendous opposition. Opposition is any action, attitude, motion, body language, and psychological pressure that a decoy would use against the dog before and during the attacks. It's using all the decoy's knowledge of dogs and dog training to test not only the dog's courage and skills, but also the depth of his training. Opposition can be used to compromise the control, to bring difficulty in the outs, as well as to scare or intimidate the dog into not biting. In training, a good decoy must know how to help and teach the dog to handle the opposition offered by the trial decoy. In trialing or testing, then a good decoy must be able to find any weakness in the dog or in his training and exploit it. Of course, this test must stay within the rules and within a sense of fair play and common sense. In general, to be a good opposing decoy, you need to first be a good training decoy. It would be impossible to explain all the techniques of opposition. However, we will analyze the strong points in the footage presented here and give you a start. For a decoy's imagination is also part of the vast store of tools he brings to every training or testing session. Omar tests a dog throughout this attack because of his use of multiple types of opposition. First, Omar places a strong barrage, then a rounded exkeeve, delaying the dog's bite. Immediately as the dog catches him, Omar powers the dog, arcing him away from his body. This makes the dog have to hold on or lose his grip. Omar then reacts to the dog's determination by shifting into a different speed, trying to challenge the dog by upper body intimidation and an almost static bite. By covering the dog and creating a strong last-minute fight, Omar manages to slow the dog's reaction to his owner's command to out and recall. Covering a dog, as shown here by Jean-Michel, is another type of opposition that brings its own set of problems for the dog. By bending completely over the dog, Jean-Michel effectively covers the dog's eyes. Arm and body motion tests the dog's nerve to work in close contact with the man. Springing into the air from this crouched position can startle a dog with a sudden change of size. Jean-Michel opens up his posture, only to bring his arm and hands down quickly towards the dog. These moves could make an unprepared or weak dog believe the decoy is reaching for or is about to strike him. Striking a dog with a stick while dictating a difficult rhythm to your work and pace is another form of opposition. Here the dog takes first advantage of a mystic skeeve, but Jean-Michel loses no time to regain his balance and to place a strong opposition with stick, body, and pace. Fast stick work, combined with a strong offense, can disturb a dog. Strong upper body pressure, combined with hitting the ground next to the dog with the stick, is applied in an attempt to generate problems at the out. When a decoy manages to deny a dog his preferred target, he makes him struggle for whatever or wherever the dog can grab. When a dog has a small or uncomfortable bite, the decoy knows the dog will attempt to take a different or better one. At this point, a quick, skilled decoy will put a barrage between him and the dog. The decoy makes the dog miss his first attempt and lose his initial speed. As the dog closes for his second attempt, the decoy's speed and springiness of his legs allow him to do this again. By the time the dog manages to get a piece of this decoy, he has a very small one. When the dog attempts to let go for a split second to rebuild the shallow bite he had, the decoy takes full advantage, placing his stick quickly between him and the dog. As the dog tries to regain a bite, the decoy manages to keep the stick in the way, forcing the dog to target high. Gilles then takes that target away as the dog tries for it. Because this dog starts with a bite that is uncomfortable for him, the ensuing momentum forces him to let go. Gilles takes immediate advantage of this and places a strong barrage, coupled with intimidating body posture and good position. Opposition is not brutal. Had this dog gone back at the decoy with conviction, the accidental contact with the stick would not have happened. The imposing body posture that Gilles adopts serves to intimidate the dog, allowing the decoy to place his barrage. Imposing body posture and eye contact can be used by a decoy to overpower a dog who may have some self-doubts. Even without a stick, this style of posture can be very imposing for a dog. A great decoy is one who can combine all the talents we have described to you and finish it off with presence and almost uncanny intimidation of dogs, thus safely using all the skills of opposition and an internal sense of willpower to change a dog's behavior. As you were watching this tape, you could see the need for dogs of all levels of training. Without good decoys, it is difficult to train dogs to a good level. But without dogs, how can the decoys train themselves to become better? Even though our new device is not a complete answer to those questions, part of this problem can be resolved with this brand new training device. The dummy dog. He's calm, housebroken, cheap to feed, never tired, always ready to work, and mainly his temperament is unbreakable, whatever mistakes an apprentice decoy could make. It might sound like a joke, but it's a very serious tool for beginners. This dummy dog will allow you to practice the fundamentals of balance and movement, to practice the movement of some opposition techniques, and will increase your stamina and strength as you use it. The dummy dog is a specially weighted stuffed animal that has been modified to allow a decoy to attach it to himself in all the customary areas for a bite, either with a suit on or without. Different systems allow personal choice to come into play. You may have a helper hold him on leash, just like a regular dog, providing some resistance and pull. The dummy dog is also outfitted with a cable that will allow you to put him on a post or bungee, so a decoy could work with him when he is alone. It is also possible to add 2 lateral bungees to allow you to make sideways or lateral moves. Jean-Michel has designed a specially fitted saddle to hold different amounts of weights. This will help a decoy prepare for the weight of an actual dog. By increasing the weights, you will increase the strength in your knees, arms, and body. The saddle also gives the beginning decoy a visual aid in where to place his stick hits. Jean-Michel teaches all of his students several basic types of moves while working a dog. Pulling the dog, making the dog follow you. Walking, a difficult move to handle when a dog is fighting you back. Pushing, a little similar to walking, only the dog is being pushed backwards. Being dragged, letting the dog pull you along, a hard one for decoys who have problems with balance. Static, standing almost still with the pressure coming from above. Twisting, a good way to reward a dog who has been worked in a difficult fashion, one of the easiest moves, in terms of the dog's point of view, to handle. As you can see, applications for this device can be as varied as your imagination. For more information regarding this and all the other fine Moreau dog training products, please contact us by phone or fax at these numbers.
I hope you've enjoyed this tape and have learned something from it. I thank all the brave men and women who try to be decoys. For without decoys, there wouldn't be good biting dogs for either sport or street work. I want to pinpoint the decoys on this tape because without their skill, we wouldn't be able to make this tape. Patty Davidson from Washington State. Patty was the first female to be selected as a ring decoy in North America. I really enjoyed working with her when I gave seminars in her club. Thank you, Patty. Rick Maple from Washington as well. I regret that I didn't have more footage of Rick, because he's an excellent deco. He was ranked as national during his certification in Colorado. Thank you, Rick. Tim Lynham, another national deco from Michigan, a student of Cyril Carlson. Tim provided us with some excellent footage of escaves. Thank you, Tim. Ted Zantakis. Ted is a police officer who worked with me to improve his skills as a police canine agitator. He was a very quick learner. It was a pleasure working with him. Thanks, Ted. Nathan Matic from Colorado. Nathan spent several weeks at my place, helping to shoot the initial footage for this tape. He did a good job. I hope to see him soon at an Deco certification, because he has the potential to be a success in it. Thank you, Nathan. Omar Van Muller. Omar was the first student of my teaching career to reach such a high level of skill so quickly, certifying after only 2 months of instruction. He has a natural talent to read and understand dogs. I regret that the bad knee injury ended Omar's career as a trial deco. Thank you, Omar. Gilles Piot. Gilles was my last student who certified national when I was in France. He was also my training deco at the time. I was very proud of his work when he came to deco the '91 North American Ring Championship. This trial provided us with great footage for the opposition portion of this tape. He's a very pleasant guy, even shy in real life. But on a trial field, you can see why I used to nickname him the Spider. Thank you, Gilles. Stacy William. Stacy was a very powerful and talented deco, the kind of deco you wish to have to bring a dog to top-level competition. He provided us with great footage for explaining his skills. His kindness and modesty were equal to his skills in the suit. He had the potential to become a great trial deco, but unfortunately, his life was cut short. We dedicate this tape to Stacy's memory.